Hey Gary. First, thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Um, didn't really see your videos before, but have been sitting here watching a few of them, and the one about free will really uh, piqued my interest because it's something that I think about a lot. I mean, I've had this discussion with many people as far as what is free will. And usually the issue goes back to our relationship with the higher self, the higher spirit, the G word, God, as you will. And usually the discussion centers on that. It doesn't become as clinical as you're making it in a psychological sense. It's very much a spiritual type of decision-making process. Not that instinctual process such as food or addiction. Addiction is your body believing that the cocaine is food and it needs it more than you can starve yourself to death based on your need of an addiction, because your brain is telling you that that addiction is nourishing your body when actually it's not. And if it's noticeable in animals as well as ourselves, that's the link. The link is that it's an instinctual type of mechanism. It's not a mechanism based on your spirit. With that aside, free will is a spiritual choice. It's a choice of, you spoke of the four points: motivation, value, what was the third one? I don't remember. And then you evaluate your action. Oh, your opportunity, which would be an action. And that's looking at something that I feel, in the way that you described it, as being a very instinctual type of decision-making process. You could apply all four of those elements to animals, where to human beings it's very different. And what makes the difference here, in my opinion, is our emotion. And I know emotion is a totally a topic that can get very deep. I watched a little bit of the one with that Crossmack replied to, as far as hate and anger and these things that we could determine as an emotion, and where do those come from in the context of free will. But I think, and I think they do. I think hate is definitely something that's in the context of free will. We have a choice within our emotions to make a decision to hate something or to love something. I don't think the animals have that choice. I think the animals only have the choice of love. They don't experience that hate that we do. That can be demonstrated in, you think of an angry dog that you're coming upon his territory, and he becomes angry, or he becomes mad, he becomes vicious, he'll become violent. But that is an instinctual mechanism to protect. That is something that that dog has to have. We as humans, we can have that type of reaction even if we are not protecting something that is physical, if we're protecting something that is spiritual. Religious war is an example of that. But you were talking about a lot about these mice, and I don't think the mice are a good correlation for free will. Because they don't possess what the definition of that term would be. And that is the free will choice to, and it depends on which religion you're going with. I mean, if we're going with Christianity, it's your free will choice to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and the person who's going to take you to heaven, or not. And you have that choice to make. I don't know what the the comparison would be with Islam or Hindu or Buddhism as far as choices. Free will is something that we basically find in the Christian paradigm of God. And it's all based on you choosing God or not choosing God. And that's what free will. Now, you do suggest that there's a libertarian free will, such as it's my free will to choose to do drugs, or my free will to choose to have an abortion, or choose to eat poorly, or that's not really free will. You're talking about libertarian freedoms, and you have to talk about the word of what is a freedom, compared to what is free will. It's not just my choice to do anything I want based on my motivation, my values, my opportunity, and then my evaluation of all of that, or what my consequences or my rewards are. It is something that boggles my mind, because if we get into the interpretation of God scientifically, you have to wonder, why would an entity give a creation the choice between having heaven or having eternal damnation? I mean, okay, I'll take the eternal damnation, please. It's just like, no, we all want to get to the good place. And I think a lot of that's based in fear that, they have to at least say that you have a choice. You specifically have this choice. That's what free will is. The only thing is that choice only involves two doors. It's not like walking into a mall where you have all of these choices. That's instinct. When you walk into the forest, you have many nuts and berries to choose from. Do you want the cranberry? Do you want the gooseberry? That's what walking into a mall is like. Do I want the hot dog? Do I want the hamburger? That's not free will. That's you having choice in the society you live in. If you lived in the outback of Australia, it would be, which bug do I want to eat today? That's not free will. Free will is a spiritual choice. And so anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and thanks again for subscribing. We'll talk at you later. Take care.